let's go back to that big story, because David Cameron has interrupted a meeting of EU leaders in Brussels to demand emergency talks over Britain being asked to pay an extra £1.7 billion into the EU budget. Now, the bill has been calculated in response to an improvement in the UK's economy, but the Prime Minister is under mounting pressure from his own Eurosceptic backbenchers not to pay it. The Conservative MP, John Redwood, says the answer has to be no.
You start by explaining that this is unacceptable, that this is illegal as far as the United Kingdom is concerned. It offends all our principles of natural justice and fair taxation, that the British people are already paying too much tax, and the last thing they intend to do is to send another £1.7 billion to the Commission.
John Redwood. Let's talk to Jonathan Davies, who's an economist and wealth manager from Hertfordshire. Jonathan, good afternoon to you.
Hello, Roberto.
Welcome back to the programme, Jonathan. Does this suggestion, this idea, this bill has landed on our doorstep, does it suggest the EU is in need of more money?
Bureaucracies will always expand as far as they can. Whether they need more money or want more money is perhaps not the question. They're certainly asking for more money. It's really curious that the likes of Greece and Italy, who are in dire economic circumstances, they're being asked to put money into this pot. It's quite remarkable.
Well, it's baffling, isn't it? This is a club, but we did sign up to this club, of course, and we knew the rules when we signed up to this. Greece and Italy, financially, very, very difficult situations. They've got to pay. We've done better than expected over 19 years, and we've got to pay, and the French and the Germans get a rebate.
First of all, I'm not convinced that we knew the rules when we signed up to it. I might remind you that the British people haven't had a say in this for literally 39 years.
No, we haven't. But Jonathan, surely all those civil servants and those mandarins working in Westminster and Brussels on our behalf would have looked through all the vast quantities of paperwork to check the small print.
You'd certainly hope so, wouldn't you? You can say that. I can't comment because we don't know what actually has happened. Getting back to the question, it does seem remarkable that Germany in particular is going to get a rebate when we know that Germany is not growing as fast as the UK this year, but over the last roughly 2 decades, I would have thought Germany did better than us. In any case, we owe, as a country, more per capita. Our government owes more than the Germans owe. So I just find it remarkable that we've
Jonathan,
got to find...
How does that work? We owe per capita, you say, more than the Germans, and yet our economy is doing better.
The amount that the UK government has admitted to that it owes is £1.4 trillion, £1,400 billion, for approximately, of course, 65 million people. And the amount that the Germans owe is a smaller amount per person that lives in Germany. So we owe more money. We've been growing this year, it's true, faster than Germany. But again, why is that? It's because George Osborne has borrowed £110 billion to add on to the existing amount that we already owe. So of course you can get short-term growth, as I've said to you before. You can get short-term growth if you borrow a lot of money. The problem is at some point the piper has to be paid. But I just find it... I doubt, I don't have the figures in front of me, but I doubt that over the last 19 years, the United Kingdom has grown faster than Germany. Germany is the manufacturer of high-tech products and vehicles for the world. We certainly aren't. What do? We do houses and insurance and banking. I'm sure that selling BMWs and multi-million pound manufacturing machines to China has ultimately been more profitable than whatever we've been up to. But then again, I don't have the figures.
Jonathan, it's like getting a brown envelope delivered through your door. It's from the Inland Revenue. You thought you paid your bill, your tax bill, but they ask you for another £10,000 and it gives you a bit of a heart attack. What do you do? I mean, should we pay this bill?
If you're asking me, if those are the rules, then you have to abide by the rules. I don't know the specific rules. I would say that if, as you say, you get a brown envelope from HMRC, you'd immediately hand it to your accountant and say, what's this all about? And the accountant would go and negotiate on your behalf. But for Cameron to say, this is unacceptable, I'm not going to pay this on the 1st of December, do you know what? In my mind, what that means is he'll pay it on the 2nd of December or the 1st of January, and he'll maybe get 5% locked off.
Well, hang on. We'll talk politics with a number of our local MEPs later on. But of course, politically, if he could walk away with a vastly reduced or not having to pay this at all, it would strengthen his position considerably. If he does pay it, he might as well pack his bags and get removals in from number 10 now.
No, I mean, our net spend in the EU is about 9 or 10 billion pounds a year. This is 1.7 billion spread over 19 years. No, I'm not convinced that even if it was halved, that it actually means that he's negotiating hard with the EU. We all remember a couple of years ago, he came back from Brussels and said, I've got major wins, I've negotiated big cuts in EU spending. All he actually got was a reduction in the rate of increase. And we don't know how many of the other prime ministers were in agreement with him. In any case, it wasn't just Cameron.
OK, can we give them some post-dated cheques? Is that still done?
I'm sure we could. The EU is a bureaucracy, and ultimately it's a legalised mafia. Therefore, so long as they eventually get their money, they don't really care how they get it.
We couldn't impose some extra taxes on things like BMWs and Leapfrail, Milshin and Remy Martin, could we?
No, we can't, because there's free and tariff-free movement of goods and services.
What about hummus? Nobody likes that stuff. That hummus is horrible. What about double the tax on hummus?
Which reminds me that the Greeks are closing down their hummus and tara masala factories. I'm afraid it's a double-dip recession. Apologies. Had to say it.
And I've got to do the news now. Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome.